Today I'm going to make the pants, the capris, 2 shorts, one longer and one shorter, and leggings. The way I store my recycled items is I just roll them up, tie them with a piece of yarn, and it makes storage a little bit more compact in my fabric closet. And recycled items are either from my closet, my husband's closet, or the thrift store. So today I'll make pants out of this pink fabric. It's a little bit more vibrant in person. The lighting is fading it out a bit. So I have a shirt here. I've already deconstructed the shirt to make it flatter. And there's kind of a joy in deconstructing items. I love to cut them apart. And I think I've got enough just to use the sleeve to make the pants for the doll. I ironed out the wrinkles and I put right sides together. And this fabric is a little bit lighter than I wanted it to be. A 100% cotton heavier cotton would be better to make the jeans. I'm going to call it that, pink jeans. A chambray or an Oxford would probably be a better choice. And you've seen me make pants before, but this is a good little refresher, and hopefully I'll add a few more details. So I traced the pattern on the wrong side of the fabric, and I do not cut before I sew. So do not add a seam allowance onto this. It's ready. Just follow this line, the 2 curves. The reason I do that is when you cut it and then you push it through your machine, it kind of, eats the fabric when it's a small seam allowance. I even sew before I cut on people clothes also. Now I want to do some top stitching, some faux stitches to make it look like jeans. So I'm only going to sew the front. If I were not doing the top stitching, I'd sew the front and the back curve. I folded my pants in half so that I could press a guideline for my stitches. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's where I will make the top stitches. Lengthen your stitch length. So here's the faux stitches, and some people will use 2 needles, but I just do 2 lines of top stitching. It's just a lot faster for me. I chose aqua to go with the core colors in my capsule wardrobe. This little pocket template is provided in the pattern pieces. You want to use chalk and then turn it to the other side and make a chalk line to have faux pockets. And I could put pockets on the back, but I'm not going to this time. That's what it looks like. She does need a zipper. I'm using the same template, but I'm only covering half to make the zipper. I know you can't see that, but anyway, it's there. Alright, I've done all the top stitching and trimming and that type of thing with it, with the fabric flat. Now I can sew this other curve, and I'm ready to cut. I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch away from the seam, and you make your little, anytime there's a curve or a corner or an angle, you got to make these little clips. Then I'm going to go back and zigzag this area. I can pull it flat to zigzag. I'll finish cutting this. Okay, so I finished cutting, and I cut on the lines except where I stitched, and then I cut 1/4 seam of an inch seam. This is when you try it on your doll, and if all my dolls seem to have different bodies, this one is one of my bigger dolls. You're going to turn down the waistband to your preferred thickness. Also, if it's too tight, I always advise making a dummy pair of pants before you actually go to all the trouble of stitching and top stitching and all that. And you will want to know if your pattern fits. And then you're going to turn up your desired length if you like them long. This is when you decide. Now I'm going to sew the hem and the waistband. Notice with my pattern, you do not need elastic or anything. It's a little bit loose, but that's okay. I think your child can still slip it on the body. So here's what I've got so far. I finished the inside of the waistline, and then I top stitched. I also, while it's flat, finished the hem and top stitched. And now I'm ready to sew the inseam. So you're going to make sure it matches here and it matches here. Okay, these are finished. And what do you do at angles and curves? Say it with me. Clip those seams. See, I clip them, and then zigzag or serge so that you'll have a nice finish on those seams. People, my patterns fit. And there she is. Good length. Now I'm ready to make the shorts and the capris. And remember my core piece, and each one of these fabrics match something in my core piece. Let's see, there's the green. Okay. And then I've got the beige brown looking fabric. Now that I know that I've tested my pattern, it does work. I've made some adjustments if it did not work. And I've actually got a piece of fabric here, go figure. This is probably a shirt. Yes, this was one of my shirts. Okay. And this looks like a shirt also. That's, yeah, one of my husband's shirts. Ooh. I'm going to go ahead and sew all three of these at the same time. I'll show you the steps. And on doll clothes, I just use white thread or dark thread. On people clothes, I do try to match the fabric. And this is the long sleeve part of the shirt that I cut off. Be sure to save that button. That is a perfect size button for doll clothes. Okay, I sewed the curves on all three. I cut all three, giving myself 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then I cut on the chalk lines on the rest of the fabric. I zigzagged and serged. I tried the shorts on the doll and decided about the waistband or the waistline and how much I want it to hem. We'll call these the walking shorts. They come right above the knee, and then these are pretty short. And I use the hem of the shirt sleeve for the hem of these short shorts. Remember how I put the waistband on the gathered skirt? Well, you do the same thing. I'm putting a waistband on the Capris. You fold a piece of fabric and pin it to the outside and sew, and then it becomes a waistband. Also, you need to decide where you want your capris hemmed, and quite possibly right under the knee. It's your decision. If you want a cuff on your capris, fold a pretty deep hem, iron it, and then fold it again on the right side, and then make a top stitch, making sure that you've caught this part in with the top stitch. It makes a really neat looking cuff. I also, when I sewed my band, I put that little button that was on my shirt sleeve. Doesn't do anything, it's just for show. And this is kind of loose, but if you want to tuck a shirt in, you might need that looseness. And here's what the cuff looks like. I've top stitched it and hemmed it all in one. And here they are.